Okay, now that we've created a new text format that allows us to add images to content, let's go ahead and switch over our tour content that we just created to use the new format. So I'm going to jump back to the browser where we're currently logged in as Joey, our guide. And let's go ahead and refresh this edit page for the Zimbabwe Adventures Tour. Okay, it's been refreshed. And now in this text format section, we have Site Editor as an option. Let's go ahead and check that. Notice that the allowed HTML tags are different now. We now have image here. That looks good so far. Let's go ahead and scroll down and click Save. Okay, we now have our image. So everything's looking good. Let's go ahead and go back to the edit page. I wanted to point out something really quick. I'm going to click Edit on this page. Now again, this user has permission to edit their own tours, so this Edit tab will show up for them, but it won't show up for other guides whose tour this is not. And I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to take a look at this text format options set right now. Now, if we didn't explicitly train all of our guides to use a particular format, how would they know to use one of these? Probably the simplest way to help our users understand which text formats they can use is by disabling ones that they're not going to use and limiting their options. So because filtered HTML and site editor are so similar, site editor being the same thing as filtered HTML but allowing image tags, let's go ahead and disable filtered HTML for the guide role. Okay, I'm going to jump back to the browser where I'm an administrator. And by now you already know one technique you can use to remove permission to use a text format, which is going to that text format, editing it, and changing the roles that can use it. But there's another way too, and it's through the permissions page. So let's go ahead and go there. I'm going to click on People in the admin toolbar. I'm going to click on Permissions in the upper right hand corner. And then I'm going to do a search on here for text formats. Okay. Notice that it's under the Filter module. So you see we have the Use the Filtered HTML text format permission, Use the Site Editor text format permission, and Use the Full HTML text format permission. So for the Site Editor format that we just created, you see that we have the Administrator and Guide checkboxes checked. For Filtered HTML, we have all of them checked. And in order to remove the setting for the guide, we'll need to first undo the setting for an authenticated user. So I'm going to go ahead and check that. So by doing this, we're removing the text format from the options when a guide is editing content. However, this will also remove the option for all the other authenticated users. So in the future, we may end up building an additional text format in order to use for more general users. One more thing to notice here is that we have one more option in our dropdown for filters, which is plain text. And you don't see a permission here to modify the plain text permissions. And that's because in Drupal, plain text is always going to be enabled for all roles all of the time, so you can't remove it. So this is the best we can do, is providing two different options. Let's go ahead and scroll down to the bottom and save these permissions. I'm going to click Save Permissions. And when that's done, let's go ahead and jump back to our Joey browser and refresh the page again. And let's take a look at our options here. We now have two options, Site Editor and Plain Text. It'd be hard to make it much more simpler than that.